In this example, let's implement that two-dimensional array. So instead of using one dimension, what we can do is we can say it is as two dimension. So we'll say int k, it will be of two dimensional. So let me just clear this code first. Okay, so this is two-dimensional array which is int k bracket bracket, and then we can say we need to specify the size. So we'll say new int. Now this is not single dimension, so we have to use two square brackets. Let's say we have three rows and three columns. So we have an array now which has three rows and three columns. Now how to assign values? So we can also assign the values in this format. So let's say let me just comment this part. So we'll say int k, say a square bracket equal to. Since it's an array, we have to say open and close. This array is not the array of elements. This array is the array of array. So inside this curly braces, there will not be a values. There should be an array. So one array, two array, and three arrays. Since it is three rows and three columns, so three rows will be three arrays, and those array will have three elements. So let's say value is 1, comma 2, comma 3. So this is the first row of your array. Let's say 2, comma 5, comma 6. This is the second row of your array. And let's say we have 7, 8, 9. This is your third row. Right? So we have a two-dimensional array in which you can specify your values in this way. Or you can, if you don't know the values, but if you know the size, you can use this way. Now let's say I want to print this array. In order to print, let's say if I use for loop, we'll use a normal for loop. So we'll say int I equal to 0, I less than, let's say 3, and I plus plus. Now this for loop will traverse between your rows. What I want is I need to also traverse this example like we have here. So let's say we have this array here. Now this array is one element for the array. This array is the second element, and this array is the third element. Now we can traverse between different array with the help of this I loop. But what about inside this inner loop, or this inside this array? What we can do is we can use one more loop, which is j equal to 0, j less than or j less than 3, and j plus plus. And now we can traverse. So we can say let's print the values. So we'll say system dot out dot println. And in order to print in a proper box format, we'll use a print, and we'll print k of let's say I and j. Now, how it will run is it will print all the values in sequence. So if I run this code, so we say run as application. So you can see output is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the whole value. But I want to print this in the box format. So initially what I need is I need a space after every print. And after in a for loop, what we can do is we can just print the system.out.println, and we'll print a new line here. And now if I run this, if I say run as Java application, the output is 1, 2, 3, then 2, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. So this is how we need to traverse in your two-dimensional array. Now, so if you remember, in one-dimensional array, we have used for enhanced for loop, which is also called as for each loop. So can we use for each loop here? Let's try. If I say I have a k, I need to fetch the values of k. So can I use int I from k? The answer is no. Because if you say k, it will fetch the first element of the array, and the first element of the array is itself an array. So here instead of saying int I, we need to say int array. So I here will be a single dimensional array. So this 1, 2, 3 will come into this int I. And inside this, what we can do is we can say j in I. So we can do this also. And instead of using k of ij, we can print the value of j. So what it will do is, it will say from the k array, which is two-dimensional array, fetch one-dimensional array at a time. So initially, the value of I will be 1, 2, 3. Then it will go here. Now this j will fetch the first element of this I, this which I array, which is 1. Then it will increment, it will take 2, increment, it will take 3. Once you have done with the first array, it will jump to this point, and in this, now I will fetch the second array. Now if you go here, now j will fetch the first element of second array, which is 2, and then 5, and then 6, and then list goes on. So if I run this, so you can even use enhanced for loop with two-dimensional array, and the output is still same, right? But let's say I don't know what's the initial values. I want to set the values like, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. So in this scenario, instead of using this declaration, we will use this type of declaration, which is int kk equal k bracket bracket equal to new int 3 3. In order to assign the values, we can use a for loop. So we'll say int I equal to 0, and then I less than 3, and then I plus plus. Inside this, I made a mistake, it should be 0. And then inside this, I need to use a for loop again. We'll say int j equal to 0, and then j less than 3 and j plus plus. And here we'll say k of I comma j. Now the values I want is 1, 2, 3. So what we can do is we can use another variable, let's say x, and the initial value of x will be 1, and we can assign x here. Or we can say x plus plus. So it will first assign the value and then it will increment. So if I run this loop, I think the output will be 1 to 9. And yes, we are getting the output as 1 to 9. So this is how we should be using two-dimensional array.